All right, guys, the iPhone event is literally tomorrow. I'm shooting this on a Sunday, the day before their Glow event, to release and announce all of the iPhone 16 lineup of phones. So the 15 Plus, we're going to talk about it 1 year later. One of the best iPhones ever made, in my opinion. Should you hold on to it? Should you upgrade? I'll tell you some of the rumors for the 16 Plus that's about to be released or talked about and announced tomorrow at the event. But if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that like, drop a sub. Let's talk about the 15 Plus literally a year later. Now, I've had the 15 Plus, and the Pro Max since launch last year, and I've gone back and forth. The Plus is actually my favorite phone of last year, more so than the Pro Max. We're going to talk about what I love about this device. We'll just put this to the side. I have it here for a comparison, a little bit here and there. We're not going to talk about the Pro Max too much. That is reserved for another video. And of course, when the new phones launch, I'll have comparisons against all of the phones in the lineup. Well, not all of them. I can't buy all of them, but the Plus and the Pro Max. But today, the 15 Plus, we're going to talk about design, right? Whether you love or hate the design of it, I do really like this phone and the way it was built. The aluminum on here, it's lighter than titanium and stainless steel phones, which Apple has given us in the past. The curved edges on here, right? It's hard to tell if you don't hold it in your hand, because in the past, the iPhones all the way back to the 12 Pro Max and the 12 lineup of phones, they've had this squared off edges, but now they're a little rounded and it's much more comfortable to hold in your hand. So on the back, we get the matte glass and the finish, so you're not going to see any fingerprints. The pastel colors on here, you either hate it or you love it. I like it. I've said this pretty much in every video I've made about this device. This is blue. It kind of looks like a shade of white, but it is a pastel color, and I do like it. Now, again, with the design, no more lightning across the board on iPhones. That's a win for everybody. The difference between these two devices, USB-C 2 on here and USB-C 3 on the Pro and the Pro Max. And for me, that's not really a big deal because I do shoot B-roll with both of these devices still, depending on which one is charged up at the time. But I'm using AirDrop anyway, so the little bit slower speed on the Plus is never a big deal because I'm not transferring data with the cable anyway. I'm always using AirDrop, and I believe that's the case with just about everybody. If you have an iPhone, you're probably using AirDrop if you have an Apple computer. Now, one thing that is leaving this year on the new devices is the mute switch. So the mute switch has been around for a very long time on iPhones. I still love it. I use it all the time. It's very nice and convenient just to go, put the switch down and we are on silent. Now, the action button, you can do that. You can set it to mute your phone and you can set it for other things. So which one do you prefer? That's on you. I don't really care. At first, when these were announced, I didn't really care for the action button. It was kind of gimmicky, but I get it now. It allows you to do a few more things. I still love the mute switch, and I always will. It's a staple with an iPhone, but this year with the new devices across the board, we won't have that anymore. Every new iPhone this year will have the action button. They might call it something else, but it is going to be the action button. Now, as far as design goes, I think Apple knocked the Plus out of the park. It's just a very good device. And piggybacking off the design, we're going to talk about the display. Now, the display on here is absolutely beautiful. 6.7-inch display, the same size as what we have here on the Pro Max. 1,000 nits of peak brightness on here. Now, outside in direct sunlight, you will get a little more brightness on the Pro Max, but moving forward outside, it's not going to be an issue. Basically the same displays across the board, except for, of course, 60 hertz and 120 hertz. 60 hertz, I still think we're going to have 60 hertz on the lower end models of iPhones this year, which I think it's crazy. Shouldn't happen, especially at the price point that the new phones are going to launch at. They're going to be $900, $1,000 for the 16 and the 16 Plus. So Should they be at least 90 hertz? Yes, they should be 120 hertz. Let's be real, they should be 120 hertz across the board. That is rumored to happen next year on the iPhone 17 lineup. We'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised tomorrow and we'll get that. But right now, the 15 Plus is 60 hertz. But again, if you have used an iPhone, if you have used an Android device, there is a difference between 60 hertz on an iPhone and 60 hertz on an Android device. I use an Android device as my main phone. But there is a difference between 60 hertz between the two. It is very smooth. It allows you to do whatever you need to do. It's just really a non-issue in my opinion. If I didn't know any different, right? Most people don't know. Most people that are not techies do not know, and they certainly don't care. But it's just a very smooth 60 hertz. Now again, like I said earlier in the video a minute ago, it should be 120 hertz. This was an expensive phone. It's not like it's a cheap phone. So it should be. But the display on here, it's a beautiful display, good colors. The speakers on here are excellent. Watching content on here has always been enjoyable. I don't have any issues with the display, minus the 120 hertz that is missing. If you work from home and you are in need of a very comfortable office chair, look no further than what I have here. This is an ergonomic computer desk chair. Comes in at $239. Multiple colorways, a brown, a black, and like you see here, this is a charcoal gray color. This has a 400-pound capacity for weight. It's a very wide seat. The packaging on here is very nice. It comes very well packaged. Everything you need is laid out. The instructions, you get the tools, the wheels, the metal base, the faux leather material. It's all provided here. A very simple setup. It takes about 10 minutes to set up. Now again, this is very comfortable. The armrests, they do move very smoothly up and down the seat, and the height is adjustable. The wheels on here are very smooth. Whether you're on carpet or a hardwood floor, it doesn't really make a difference. There is a rocking function to this chair, around 30 degrees back and forth. A very comfortable option if you are working from home. All the links are below. Next, we'll talk about performance on the 15 Plus. So Apple Silicon, it is the best on a phone in my opinion. It has been very powerful. Is Snapdragon catching up? Yes, they're becoming really good, really powerful, more efficient than they have in the past, and they are gaining ground, but Apple Silicon is still, in my opinion, the best when it comes to performance on a smartphone. Now, the 15 Plus, and this is going to be a little different moving forward with Apple, 5 nanometer A16 Bionic in here, the same as we had on the 14 and the 14 Pro Max, different than what we have on the Plus or not the Plus, on the Pro and the Pro Max, right? We have the A17 chips in those. Performance-wise, across the board, these phones are both a beast. Whether you have the A16 or the A17, it really doesn't matter. It's going to allow you to do whatever you want. Computational photography, it will power through that. It will power through gaming. Whatever you need it to do, no matter what chip you are using, even on older phones, all the way dating back to the 13 Pro Max, Apple Silicon is still just a powerhouse. And now that will be changing this year across the lineup, I believe. And if I'm wrong, drop a comment, but I believe the rumors are that the new devices, the regular model and the Plus version, will get the A18 chip, and then the Pro and the Pro Max will get like an A18 Pro chip. So at least we're getting both the same chip, and I believe those are rumored to be, I think they are not rumored, I think it's known that those are 3 nanometer chips on the new devices. Now, of course, we use our phones for cameras, right? We want a great camera, and across the board, that's basically what we have pretty much on all phones at this point in 2024, about to be 2025. But I mean, can you name a phone that has a crappy camera? Right? Even phones that cost $300, $400, $500 have really good cameras. It's not like back in the day where if you were buying a budget phone, you had to sacrifice camera or video quality. It's not the case anymore. The iPhones, even cheaper versions of the phone like the SEs they've always been really good at taking photos, and especially at video quality. So on here, right, we have the new 48 megapixel main camera on the Plus, which gives us a ton of resolution. So if you're zooming in, you have that extra resolution to still give you that crispy quality photo that we want. Now the difference between the two, we don't have that 5x telephoto lens that we have on the Max, right? That's missing from the Plus. So as far as comparing the two, does the Pro Max offer more when it comes to photo and what it can do? Yes, but this, much more now than what we've had in the past, gives us the closest comparison to photo quality that we've had on an iPhone when we're talking about hundreds of dollars of difference between these two devices. So camera quality, in my opinion, this phone is a better value than what we get on the Pro Max. We're about 90% there when it comes to video quality and camera quality on the Plus compared to the Pro Max. This is a great phone, and still today, a great device. Video quality, of course, on an iPhone has been really good, one of the best for a very long time, and that doesn't change. This device here is one of my favorite iPhones ever when it comes to quality, performance, and power. Now, last but not least, we'll talk about battery life, right? That's been my favorite thing about this iPhone. One of the best batteries, one of the best and most efficient batteries on a device, in my opinion, that I've ever owned. I don't know if I've ever had better battery life than what I get with the 15 Plus. Are there other phones out there from Apple and Samsung and other companies that have great batteries? Of course there are. But when it comes to iPhones, the 15 Plus is probably one of the best. It's definitely top two, right? For me, it comes down to the 13 Pro Max, the 15 Plus, and the 15 Pro Max. But we all know from comparisons, the Plus does have better battery life than the Pro Max. And that's probably because the more power-hungry hardware inside of here, right? It's probably not as efficient as what we are getting. This is a little powered down than the Pro Max, so it's probably more efficient when it comes to battery life. But saying that, we get better battery life. It's really that simple. What phone gives me the best battery life? The iPhone 15 Plus. Day and a half easily, whenever. I don't ever worry about battery life using this device. Now, should you upgrade? If you are using the 15 Plus or any 15 device, should you upgrade? In my opinion, there's no reason to upgrade at all, unless you're that person that needs the latest and greatest. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I would not be purchasing these phones. They are expensive and I would not need them. You're not going to really notice a difference. What are we getting? The rumors, right? We're getting new performance, better chips, more efficient chips. Will that change battery life? Well, it's yet to be known because they're not out yet. But battery on the new phones are going to be not as big as what we have on the 15 Plus. I believe it's going down from like a 5,000 milliamp battery to maybe a 4,800 milliamp battery when it comes to the Plus devices. New power efficient displays, right? I talked about the action button already across the board. A little bit of a larger screen on the new devices because of a thinner bezel, some better zoom lenses. Apparently, of course, we're going to get the AI features. And then the 16 Plus is rumored to be, like I said, I think I said it earlier in the video, the 16 Plus is going to be the last Plus phone when it comes to Apple and their devices. So keep that in mind. It will be the last Plus phone. At least that is the rumor. Next year with the 17, we are rumored to get the 17 Slim, which will replace the Plus devices. Now, will we get AI features on the 15 lineup of phones? I think we will at some point, probably 3 to 6 months down the line. We should be getting an update to add some AI features, but we're not going to get it at launch. They need to push the new phones, and that is one of the big things, the AI features on the new phones. So we'll see what happens, but the 15 Plus, what a great device, right? If you have this phone or any phone in the iPhone 15 lineup of devices, I've reviewed them all. They're all great. If you have one, drop a comment, let me know your experience, and let me know if you're going to upgrade to some of the new devices. That's it, guys. I'll be back soon. Hit that like, drop a sub. Peace.